Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Matthews Frank.
And I'm Elizabeth Vaughn.
Tonight, the mayoral race in Oswego is taking place, as well as positions in the city and town of Oswego. Oswego's current mayor, Billy Barlow, is running unopposed in his second term, but along with the mayoral election, Oswego residents are casting their votes for the city's 7 ward councilors.
This election is the first time voters were able to line up and fill out their ballots earlier than the established date. Among those vying for a position in office is SUNY Oswego professor Diane Zenner, who is running for the Oswego Common Council 4th Ward. Voting started this morning at 6 a.m. and ended at 9 p.m.
Several residents of New York State have already casted their votes. This year, New York State allowed early voting for the first time. Early voting took place from Saturday, October 26th to Sunday, November 3rd. New York State is one of the 39 states that allowed early voting. Governor Cuomo signed the new election laws on January 24th of this year, but about 1.9% of registered voters ended up voting early. Onondagas County turnout was higher with a vote turnout of 2.8%. Onondagas County Republican elections Commissioner Michelle Sabaro believed turnout was low, but thinks that next year will be better because of the presidential election. Sabaro said in an interview early voting was not worth the money due to the low turnout this year.
County in New York State has received $10 million for early voting and $14 million for new polling books, which are electronic. Onondaga County spent about $90,000 on early polling operation and 6 polling stations open. Democratic Election Commissioner Laura Brazak thought that voting in Oswego County was not expensive. The county had only 1 polling station and did not use electronic polling books. Oswego City was below the state average with just under 1% with active voters coming out with the vote. Brazak said that even if people did not vote, they will overwhelmingly support on the initiative. Current Oswego Mayor Billy Barlow is running unopposed in tonight's local election. Barlow won in the mayoral seat in the city of Oswego in 2015, becoming the youngest mayor in New York State history. After being born and raised in the city of Oswego, he built his original campaign around the ideas of supporting local businesses, understanding what the people need.
Executive with a vision, with plans, who can articulate those plans and what we can do to turn around our neighborhoods, facilitate economic development, and retain our seniors and encourage younger families to move here. I, again, started my own business when I was going to school at Arizona State. It's that sort of ambition I'm going to carry into the mayor's office once I get there. When I came home, I missed the sense of community of the city of Oswego, and more than that, I just missed the people. And I'm excited to work for the 5th Ward on the City Council, but I'm more excited to represent and work for the whole city should I get the chance in January.
After his 4-year term, Barlow states that in City Hall earlier this year, his reason for seeking re-election was that he had unfinished business. Another term would allow Barlow to see through on the complexion of some of his major projects and continue building momentum to ensure Oswego has a more promising future. During his term, he was able to balance budget by bringing a new revenue in the implement a commercial water rate on large businesses to prevent rates increasing for residents, and by securing $20 million in state grant and awards. Although Democrats talk about several potential candidates for mayor, no one ended up running against Barlow.
SUNY Oswego's professor Diane Zeller is running for the Oswego Common Council's 4th Ward seat. Zeller has lived in the county for more than 30 years along with teaching at SUNY Oswego. She has been involved in programs like the Oswego County Opportunities and other local school boards.
The English professor announced her candidacy in February after incumbent councilor Robert Wilmot said he will not seek re-election. SUNY Oswego students are expressing their excitement about having someone with strong ties to the campus and community representing their concern in local government.
I feel like because she has more connection with SUNY Oswego students, like it'll be better and she can represent us a lot more, especially since she's going to be a representative not only for students but just for the whole county.
Along with creating more opportunities for Oswego's elderly population and getting vacant properties back on the tax roll, Zeller also wants to combine the usage of natural resources with economic development. One SUNY Oswego student says he is happy to see a local official concerned with environmental causes running for office.
I think that's awesome. I'm glad that there's people out there who are really taking into account the world and just like climate change and natural resources. I think that's awesome.
As the facility conservative Blue Dog Democrat Zeller is advocating for lower taxes and decreased government spending. She is also expressing the need of workforce development within the county, which includes creating better paying jobs for Oswego residents. Zeller says investing for the Port City environmental industry will do just that. One SUNY Oswego students say better paying job within the community will greatly benefit in those in need steady and efficient incomes.
Creating better jobs and opportunities in the community is always a good thing. That's always a positive. You always want to do more, do better for your community. So I'm all here for it. I need some more money as a college student. So if you want to create better jobs opportunities, that's great.
Zeller has received the endorsement from the City Democratic Committee and will appear on the ballot under the Democratic and Working Families Party. Running against Zeller is Republican Common Council veteran Sean Walker.
Democratic Jonathan Ashland and Republican Kevin Hills are running for City Council 3rd Ward. The race comes in a month after Ashland resigned from Oswego Tree Advisory Board when the Mayor Bill Barlow chose to remove a group of tree oaks from West 1st Street in favor of Japanese lilac trees. We spoke on Ashland a couple weeks ago where he expressed his goal to create a more environmental conscious community and open dialogue between the government and the citizen.
My vision in the future would be to have a city council that includes everyone from the community, hears all of the voices, and considers the impact on our environment that each one of our decisions have.
We reached out to Republican Kevin Hills over email. If elected, Hills' goals are to continue holding neglected landlords accountable for their detrimental impact on the community and improving the quality of life in 3rd wards. Resident by improving DPW response time by requests such as tree trimming and sidewalk repair, and Hills respond to WTOP. He expressed the disagreement over Ashland campaign, saying votes as well. As I voted for Mayor Barlow and other members of the Common Council to improve our community, address the concern of the constitute and move our community forward. Government is no place to dispute politics, rhetoric, and rigid ideology. And if we seen during the campaign and the indication and how Mr. Ashland would serve as a councilor, and I fear we would be heading backward to a period when city government languish in the insanitization due to our representative inability to work together and do what's right for the community. End quote. Coming after the break, we'll continue Hill's current co-owns business and serving a various nonprofit organization.
Welcome back from the break. I'm Storm Team 10 Chief Meteorologist Liam Healy. It was a chilly day out of the polls today. Highs only made it to about 51 degrees. Those temperatures, once again, are dropping pretty quickly tonight. 43 we're already in Oswego, as well as 40 degrees over here in Pulaski, while everyone else sitting right around the 40s. Let's look into Thursday, though. That's our big story of the week. When on Thursday will it stick, and how much is going to fall with this first widespread snowfall potential for the entire region? Let's start off with, let's look at where our storm is right now. We're sitting, it's over South Dakota as well as Colorado. We have these two lows. These are going to be our most influential pieces to put this storm together to bring us our first snowfall of the season here in Oswego City. You're going to see the storm is going to be moving across the entire United States. And just about by Wednesday, 7 p.m., right before it starts moving into our area, it's going to be shooting over Chicago, bringing a widespread area of snowfall. Now, what's going to be interesting about this storm is that we're going to get a moisture feed from the Gulf of Mexico. You can see that it's going to ride up this cold front and provide us with maybe some warmer air, but it's also going to provide us with enough moisture to produce at least a couple inches across the Oswego area. Let's break it down for you in our storm timeline here. Rain and snow is going to develop around 6 a.m. You're going to see it start out mainly across the lakeshore. Buffalo is going to see stuff before we're going to see anything here in Oswego. But by 4 p.m., we see a quick area of rain here. We're going to see some winds coming off the lake. It's going to keep us warmer just a little bit more right here on the lake shore. But by 4 p.m., we're going to expect everyone to be over in the snow. We're going to be seeing the snowfall changeover. And that main snow, it's going to move out by 12 a.m. So we're going to have a good few hours of this snowfall coming through the area. It may be a little bit more patchy than what we're seeing here on our model here. It's a little bit of a coarse resolution. But by 12 a.m., again, that snow is going to be moving out. But then tomorrow, or on Friday, I should say, we're going to be seeing this lake effect snow potential. Just a few spotty areas here, probably nothing too extreme like we saw maybe the other week. Now let's talk about, is it going to stick on the ground? These are our highs for the past week at Syracuse. See, as our temperatures continue to radiate, it's going to heat up the ground. The ground's going to keep that heat trapped in. So with these highs that we've been seeing in the 50s and even 70 less than just 6 days ago, this ground could be too warm for the snow to handle. See, areas like the Tug Hill, they've already seen snowfall, so their ground obviously is a little bit cooler than ours is, but generally across the lakeshore and maybe a little bit point south, it's going to take some time for the snow to start sticking to the ground. We need this ground to reach at least 35 degrees before the snow can really start to stick. That's why generally we see grassy surfaces really begin to get the snowfall before most other areas. So these are my thoughts on what we're going to be seeing for snowfall. Maybe according to an inch right here along the lakeshore, but as you get a little bit further inland, where generally it tends to be a bit cooler because they don't have the warm influence of Lake Ontario, you can see the potential for 1 to 3 slushy inches across the entire area. Now these amounts are a bit arbitrary. They could change depending on how fast the ground cools off, but generally I think this is a pretty safe area to bed in of 1 to 3, and according to an inch as you get closer to the lakeshore. It's not an extreme storm by any standards, but it is our first widespread storm of the season, so please keep that in mind when you're driving out on the roads. Not used to driving around in the snow, or you see a plow for the first time, you're new to the area, please be sure to be careful out there on the roads, as this is going to be coming down pretty quickly. But let's get you out the door tomorrow. We're not going to worry about Thursday just yet. We've got to get through the rest of the day on Wednesday. 40, 39 by 11 a.m. Getting up to 42, we're saying dry, but it is pretty cool. We got it to 53 degrees today here in Syracuse and around the Oswego area, but we're only looking to make it to 42 degrees tomorrow. As you head into the full 7-day forecast here, we're going to see that snow on Thursday, and as you head into the rest of the week, it's going to stay cool. Potential for some more lake effect rain showers on Sunday, but as you head into your work week next week, we're going to see these snow shower potential continue once again as you stay way under average for this time of year. Stay tuned for more election coverage. You're watching WTOP 10 Nightly News.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. The city and town of Oswego are broken down by 7 wards. These wards divide up the city and town for representative and election purposes.
Breaking down each ward, let's begin with the first ward. Current First Ward Councilor Susan McBury against the Republican Andrew Halls. She lives in the First Port City. Towards his life, he's been very involved in the community, led him to challenge McBury. He says that he's excited to get youth involved at such a young age. His big issue is to furniture and property being up to code. Is currently an employee of Oswego County Highway Department. Moving on to the second ward, current ward, Councilor Linda DeMasi is not running for re-election. Democratic candidate Maureen Wells is against Republican Sean Burrich, and the second ward expand from Canal View Drives to the Oswego County Industrial Park.
The third ward council is currently held by Republican Kevin Hill. Hill is running for re-election against Democratic candidate Jonathan Ashline. Something to note, all Oswego Common Council positions last 2 years. If Hill wins this election, this will be his second term, holding the third ward council seat for 4 years.
This is the map of the 4 wards, and ward stretches from Oswego River east to City Lane Road and Cocher Roads. The seat is currently held by Robert Wilmot, who is not running for re-election. Going to the seat is Democratic candidate Diane Zeller and Republican candidate Sean Walker. Zeller has lived in the Oswego community for more than 30 years. She is involved with local school board and Oswego council opportunities. She said that she is social liberal and self-described as self-official conservative. Walker ran the 4th ward for the 5th terms, spanning a decade, and he stepped down on the end of 2017 because of hitting his term limits.
Moving on to the 5th ward, the seat is currently held by Republican John Joeski, who is seeking re-election unopposed. He is seeing a 3rd term and says the city is moving in a positive direction. This term, he's calling for investments in public spaces, equipment, and code reinforcement in his ward. He wants to provide relief to taxpayers. The 5th ward stretches from South Mohawk Street to Tallman Street. It also goes from west of the river to State Route 104 and Johnson Road.
The 6th ward is currently held by Republican Ronald Tesoro, and ward spans from the Oswego County Public Safety, Certain to Church Street and the Oswego Speedway. Tesoreto is seeking a second term, and he was first elected 2 years ago in 2017. Before that, he spent 40 years in plumbing and pipe fitting industry. He plans to continue in rentalized neighborhoods into downtown. He also wants to lower the taxes burden on people who own property. Democratic candidate Matthew Fleming has worked in the theater arts for over 20 years. He agrees the tree down on First Street was a difficult to justify the spending choice for the 6th Ward voters. He said the streets need to be paved and struggle with the water pressures.
The 7th Ward spans from West River Road to Hillside Avenue. Robert Correndino currently holds the 7th Ward councilor position and is council president. He was appointed council president for his second term, and his vice president is Kevin Hill. The current council or of the 3rd Ward as council president. If anything happens to the mayor, he assumes the mayor's duties as acting mayor.
If you're looking for an election update, you can visit WTOP10.com for more information.
And coming up after the break, Aaron Valentino with your sports update. We'll be right back.
When you are in space, you can't run down to the store to buy parts. You have to improvise with what you have on your mission. Making is when there is something new that was not in existence at the beginning of the day.
Okay.
It's an incredible sense of accomplishment when you have made something. That's why I make. Now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Aaron Valentino with your sports update. This past weekend, the Oswego State women's hockey team started off their season strong with 2 wins against the Castleton Spartans. The Lakers won the first game fairly easily on Friday by a score of 5-2. But on Saturday, with 2 minutes to go, forward Aaron Stewart put in a goal, and the Lakers won 3-2. Oswego State will begin conference play this Friday against the rival Plattsburgh Cardinals. Switching to volleyball now, as the Oswego State Lakers will take on the Cortland Red Dragons in the first round of the SUNYAC playoffs tonight in Cortland. Oswego was looking to get back in the SUNYAC semifinals as they did last year, but earlier in the year, the Red Dragons won this matchup fairly easily by a score of 3-0. The game is currently underway as it started at 7 o'clock. Last night, the Brooklyn Nets were able to come away with a victory against the New Orleans Pelicans by a score of 135-125. Brandon Ingram dropped 40 points for the Pelicans, but it was not enough as all-star point guard Kyrie Irving had 39 points in the victory, with Karis LeVert contributing 23 of his own. Brooklyn now moves to 3-4 on the season with their next matchup against the Portland Trail Blazers this Friday at 10 o'clock. Sticking with basketball, as tomorrow, rookie R.J. Barrett and the New York Knicks will take on Andre Drummond and the Detroit Pistons. The Knicks have had a rough year so far as they come into this game 1-6 on the year and last in the Eastern Conference. For Detroit, they come into this one 3-5 and 10th in the conference. Tip-off for this game is at 7 o'clock in Detroit. Moving back to hockey, as last night the New York Rangers fell to the Ottawa Senators by a score of 6-2. Ranger goals were scored by Catacomb and Panarin in the first 2 periods of the game. The Rangers now fall to 5, 6, and 1 on the year and sit 7th in the Metropolitan Division. Their next game is tomorrow against the Detroit Red Wings at 8 o'clock. Now let's go to MetLife to see how the Giants fared against the Cowboys. And there you see Daniel Jones getting ready for his first start against division rival Dallas Cowboys. We're going to start it off early in the second quarter. You see Golden Tate goes up, makes the catch, doesn't get the touchdown. But wait, let's take another look at this one. Reaches up with one hand and backs into the out of bounds. Gets the Giants closer to scoring, and now it's time for the actual touchdown. Daniel Jones back in the pocket. He throws to Lattimore for the touchdown. The Giants, they're going to take a 9-3 lead early on. But then it's Dak Prescott. He drops back in the pocket. He's under pressure. He's going to scramble outside, and look who he finds. Well, it's Blake Jarwin, and he's got room. He's going, and he stumbles into the end zone. The Cowboys, they are not finished yet. It is now 16-15 Cowboys, and Dak Prescott, he's going to come in again. This one he fires to Michael Gallup, who does a somersault into the end zone. The Cowboys, they're going to take a 23-15 lead, but the Giants, they're not done yet. Here's Daniel Jones, a little screen pass to none other than Saquon Barkley. He's trying to keep them in this one. He's running, still running, going at the 50, the 40, the 30. He wants that touchdown. He wants to get back in this game. He's forced out of bounds at the 5, but the Giants, they can only get a field goal out of this one and don't capitalize on that big run. Then here's the nail in the coffin. Prescott into Amari Cooper down the field. He goes into the end zone for the touchdown. The Cowboys, they go up 30-18, and they actually go on to win this one 37-18. The Cowboys now lead the NFC East at 5-3. The Giants, they're in third at 2-7. And just a little update for you on that volleyball game. Unfortunately, the Oswego State Lakers have fallen to the Cortland Red Dragons, knocking them out of the SUNYAC playoffs.
That's incredible. Well, as we all know, today is election day, and we know that elections are important because the voting system allows people the right to select their own government. Also, we know that elections are important because everybody has their own opinions that should be heard and should be fulfilled.
That's very important. Also, what do you think, guys? What do you think about the election? Do you guys agree with that the election is very important?
The elections are beyond important for our local governments as well as for the national governments as well, looking to next year for the national election for the president. But, you know, right now our local elections seem to went well here in Oswego County, so that's something to look forward to for the next 4 years here in Oswego.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to get out there and vote every time there is an election. It's so important considering, you know, so many other countries, you know, don't have that right to vote. It's very important to get out there every single time on Election Day.
How's our whiteout looking for this weekend?
Our whiteout weekend, oh, it's going to be exciting. Plattsburgh comes into this one. They're actually 0-2. This game actually has big SUNYAC implications for them. If they lose this one and fall to 0-3, that's really bad. You don't come back from, you know, going 0-3 in your conference. And for the Lakers, they're looking to improve to 2-0 on the year and, you know, have 4 points in the SUNYAC.
And our other update?
Yeah, another update?
Let's take another look at that snowfall map. Again, we're looking at about 1 inch here on the lakeshore, but across the rest of the area here, look at about 1 to 3 inches. You get further away, about 2 to 3 miles, maybe 20 to 30 miles inland. You're looking at about 1 to 3 inches, maybe a coating to an inch possible across the entire area. But really, it's not really going to be a devastating snowstorm. We're not looking at too much, but it is our first one. And remember, don't crowd that plow out there. Take it slow if you got to come out. It is going to be pretty slushy, and we are watching for the potential for everything to refreeze on Friday morning. So you could have a tough Friday morning commute as well, as some of this stuff may not have been completely frozen when it fell.
That means I need to get a really warm jacket and coach boots.
That's our report tonight. Be sure to check our website for election updates and stay tuned for Nerd Herd.
Thank you for watching. Have a great night, everybody.